Hello and welcome to SATV's International Affairs talk show. This is Shamsul Alampantho and I will be hosting today. Of course, we have lovely panelists today. We have Mr. Mohsin Rashid, who is a senior advocate of the Supreme Court. He is also the president of the BD Muslim League. And with him, we also have retired Major Akhtaruzzaman. Gentlemen, thanks for being here today.
Pleasure.
I would first start to get your opinions on the Bangladesh budget, which was expressed earlier this week on June 2nd. First, I will go to Mr. Mohsin Rashid. How do you feel about this budget?
Well, this budget has no relevance whatsoever with the people of this country. This budget also shows that we are not having elections in December. Now, I'll tell you why I say this. It's bad for the nation what they have done. It's a 7.9 crore budget in which you have over 200,000 plus 200,000 deficit. So how do you meet this deficit? They have said we will meet this deficit by borrowing from the banks, and 88.4% of it will be met through internal revenue generation, which essentially is income tax, duties and VAT. Now, if you are borrowing over 100,000 crores from the banks, what is left with the banks? Because most of the banks are almost bankrupt. At least 8 to 10 banks have no money whatsoever, and that also includes some of the public banks. Of course, now corporatized like Janata and Ograni, they are not doing well. So, how do you meet this? If over 100,000 crore takas is extracted from them, then they will not be in a position to fund or finance commercial operations. They will also not be in a position to fund the industries. Say they have to make labor payments, they need cash, which he knows much better how these industries are run. They always need money from the bank, and then they pay off. So, how do you do this? So, what happens? What is the consequence? The consequence is, if you do not have these commercial operations, then you also are not getting duty and VAT. If
Right.
there's not enough import, then duty doesn't come in. VAT doesn't come in that way. And if industries cannot pay their workers, or even they need cash for continuous rolling, then the industries will close down. Many of the industries are not having lots of operational profits that they can do it. Then if you look at the elections, there's one party which wants elections immediately in December.
Yes.
Now, the election commission wanted around 5,000 plus crore takas to hold these elections, both general and the local elections.
Yes.
They have only been given a little less than 3,000 crores. So, this specifically shows that we are not election bound. We are not bound for elections at this point in time. Look at the stock market. The stock market is the barometer of a country's economy. If I recall, you see, Trump, when the stock market was going downhill, he went back on his tariffs and said, I'm suspending it for 3 months.
90
so
days,
that the
yes.
stock market could go up a bit, could be a bit bullish. So, these are things which are not reflected in the budget. Stock market, I mean, can you imagine a stock market being traded? Trading is only about 200, 250, 300, 350 crores max these days. So, if that is what is being traded, I would call it not a stock market, I will call it something else, a gambling board or something, because gamblers also, when they sit, they can have enough money around this. I mean, big gamblers in big casinos and other places. So this is not a stock market. A stock market essentially is banks are doing bad, so stock market is the other option from where you can take money, both debt and equity.
Of course.
So you are not looking after the stock market. And I tell you today, in your program, the stock market will only develop if you deregulate. It's so badly, heavily regulated market. It can never be a good stock market the way you have regulated it. You see, you have to understand that you are a regulator. You are not a controller.
Right.
You have to differentiate between a controller and a regulator. So you see, there's nothing about the stock market. Then about income tax. Why is there discrimination? You are saying that those who were in the July uprising and others, for them you have 5,25,000 as free of income tax. Why? Number two, they should not have any money. So I was just telling somebody that they have so much money that one of the advisors had a secret meeting with the National Children's Party. I don't call it a citizens' party, I call it the Children's Party.
Of course, coming from a senior person, yes.
Yes, I call it the National Children's Party. So they went and had coffee. It was a secret meeting, but then somehow it came out. So somebody sitting with me in the car said, "Sir, they can buy Gloria jeans." They went to Gloria jeans. They can buy Gloria jeans in the morning, one. They can go to another Gloria jeans and buy it in the evening. That's the kind of money that they have. So what do we have for the common people in the budget? The kind of budget you have, you'll have more poverty. Because if the industry is closed down, there'll be unemployment. If you cannot generate enough duties and taxes by import, then you again have a problem of unemployment. So overall, when I look at the budget, it's a very, very bad budget. There's nothing for the common people. Now, for instance, they say that there'll be 5.5% GDP growth. How? Industries are closing down. I mean, where do you get this GDP growth? They'll say inflation will come down. Yes, inflation will come down. Because if the industry is closed down, there is unemployment, so there'll be a gap between demand and supply.
Of course.
There'll be more supply and less demand, so people will be buying things at a lesser price. So inflation will certainly come down. So if that is the path that you've chosen, I will say that is an anti-people path that you've chosen by closing down industries, creating unemployment. You want to see to it that the inflation comes down. So overall, it's a very poorly drafted budget, and I think they have not looked at the reality of the people and the state itself.
Thank you, Mr. Rashid. Of course, that was a very valuable insight. Even I was, earlier on this week, even I was commenting about our national budget. Of course, the budget is a reflection of how the people are feeling or how the administration wants betterment of Bangladesh.
Correct.
I will also ask a very similar question to Mr. Major Akhtaruzaman. As I know, you served in the military as well.
He's also an industrialist, by the way.
Lovely. Glad to know that. So I would like to get your intake about this matter. First of all, I have been commenting about international affairs. Most of the major global powers, including UK, pacifist nation like Japan, everyone has a massive increase in the budget of military spending. I don't see such a notion to Bangladesh when it comes to our national security. If you look at the border push-ins that we had earlier last month, why hasn't the administration taken into the account of revising the budget for the military spending and increasing it so that Bangladesh could be benefited? Mr. Akhtaruzaman, your matter on the question or your answer to this issue.
Thank you very much. About the budget and the people's perceptions, I think our senior leader, Mr. Mohsin Rashid, has very short wording has given the full idea. I call it, this budget is the copy-pasting budget. I've already branded it yesterday.
Plagiarized budget.
It's just a copy-pasting budget. From here and there, whatever the last few years budget. He has just copied it and pasted and changed, modified the number word figures. Just increase some figures, decrease some figures. It has got no direction. It has no hope. In one other way, you can say it's a hopeless budget. Nobody is satisfied. Nobody. As you said, talking about the military, it is nothing. It is not given enough allocation to strengthen our sovereignty.
40,000 crores only.
So when the pushing, as you said, when our external threat is coming every day, as the peoples are being pushed in to a country where we are already overpopulated, and we have got a continuous rivalry and the clash in our south eastern borders, and we don't care about it. We are more caring about getting a license for electronic transfer of money. We are more busy to rent out our port. We are more busy to give a manpower company to a Grameen. So we are concentrating on that. It is another form of Lutera politics of Sheikh Hasina. Just replaced, Sheikh Hasina has been replaced by, sorry to say, Dr. Yunus. Nothing else. Sheikh Hasina was looting this country, was doing all decorations and everything for her associates. And today exactly, I should say exactly Dr. Yunus is doing for his associates. Other than his associate, find out anyone, even for the people, let's see, is there any single word for the people? The Bangladesh Pratidin has made a headlines, a budget of 3 zeros. What a satire, what a slap on the face of our chief advisor, because chief advisor is very proud of telling the 3 zeros theory is very popular and everything can solve. And the newspaper like Pratidin, who has got a mass circulation among the general people, the common people, they made a headlines that this budget is nothing, his budget is a 3-0 budget. That means 3-0 is worthless and budget is also worthless. So it's a slap on whom?
The people. The answer is given already.
Already, this
It's right there in
3-0
front of
is 3-0.
everyone's
If 3-0 is becoming a big zero. So you could not, we are expecting, even 1 month back I told that this government will give a very good budget. I was expecting very good because so many economists are there. You see this, our chief advisor, see this financial advisor, see the planning advisor, see the Bangladesh Bank, see the NBH.
Anisus Zaman imported from Australia.
And Anisus Zaman was imported from Australia. See these people. And even the chairman NVR, they are all competence. By education, they are superb. We cannot even be a student of them. Right. We're not given the access to be their student. And they have given this budget, such a hopeless budget. There is no inspiration, no our hope. And as we are talking election, how we can have election? So he is not asking for election. And I don't know how he will protect himself. He doesn't have that money also. He has not kept that money also to protect himself. There is no money for his DGFI, no money for his NSI, no money for his police. How he is going to protect him? But he is very cleverly, cunningly protecting the interest of the foreign exploiters, like East India Company. He is allowing this all East India Company to come into Bangladesh, and whatever Mir Jafar did after the Shehajullah dealt, I'm sorry to say, exactly he is doing this. He is doing the role of Mir Jafar, what was done in 1757. Allowed all East India Company to do anything they feel like. Now today he is allowing, he is inviting hundreds foreigners to come to invest here. He is not asking our investor whether you are capable to invest or not.
Or which industries you can protect in the long run.
Forget about protection, but are you interested to do this? If I cannot do it, then you bring someone else.
Right.
You want to give a port. Okay, give it. I don't mind. But why don't you go for a fair competitions? Make a fair deal. Make international tender. Whosoever is capable, let them come. Why to go and marry a girl? And it's a fixed marriage is never good. Parents don't like this.
precept.
Mr. Akhtaruzaman, that was a very lovely insight. It's needless to say that both my guests are quite fed up with the current budget that was given 2 or 3 days ago. Not just that, in previously we have seen that a budget was presented to a parliament, and then the parliamentary members would be able to comment on that matter. Unfortunately, so in regards to Bangladesh, we didn't see. It is very unfortunate for us to not have a parliament in 2025. Especially with major world economies looking towards rapid militarization of their assets. Of course, in terms of Bangladesh, there has been multiple rumors. One, Bangladesh being dissected by India, and then our island of Saint Martin, and how there's a US interest regarding this issue, and how it's been there ever since Bangabandhu's era. However, I will ask you a question regarding academics to both my panelists. As you know, Donald Trump, you mentioned me earlier, Donald Trump and his Harvard policies, he is fighting his nation's top universities in order to remove anti-Semitism, as he says. In a recent breaking news, students in the University of Cambridge in the UK has set up a protesting campaign demanding that the education institution end all investment ties with Israel companies and firms supporting supply arms to Israel. So right now we've seen the Israel aggression in Palestine for a long period of time. And then we also know that the US administration fights Harvard over regular regarding student enrollment. My question is to Mr. Mohsin Rashid. You're a member of the court. You have seen far more than me. My question would be, how do you see this world, students of various institutions taking steps against their government bodies? We know that in last year in the July-August revolution, the very example happened. They started with quota movement, and then they ended up with overthrowing a dictator, which the last prime minister was. Mr. Mohsin, what do you think about this?
Well, Trump has his own policies. He essentially is a narcissist. He's a narcissist.
Yes.
He thinks that whatever he knows, what he understands, that's it, full stop. Nobody else understands anything. And now I've seen Elon Musk, who just left the administration,
yes, he just left,
criticizing the Republicans on the passage of this budget that he has given.
Yes.
Okay. He's started criticizing. So, it's a bad policy for America to stop students from joining these Ivy League universities.
Especially Chinese students, overseas Chinese students.
Yeah. So, you are aware that they tend to benefit out of us when we go and study in this, because our fees is much more than what the Americans are paying. So that helps them in carrying on many of their programs. Now, on the one hand, he wants to stop subsidy or whatever they give, and on the other hand, he has put a full stop on all foreign students, because the embassies have been advised not to issue any student visa. All the embassies all over the world have been told. So it's a very bad thing that he's doing. This will isolate the United States of America. And I think he's doing it, he does not want the Chinese to come in and study in the United States. Well, you may be aware or may not be aware that there are lots of Bangladeshi, Indian and Pakistanis students who are going for higher education to China now. China has opened up their universities, and our boys and girls are going there. They're going for medicine, they're going for engineering, they're going for mathematics, all kinds, science, research. They're involved in everything. Our students, Bangladeshis, lots of Bangladeshis are going. So if America closes its doors to our students, well, we have another option, and that is always to go to China or other places, go to England for that matter. So it is not something that we will lose, or the students who want to go and study there would lose, but the Americans would lose not having our boys, and because they are much more smarter than the American students who work there, and Americans become smarter because of us. So this is something that they lose. We don't lose. We don't have to go there, number one. Number two, it will also help the Bangladeshis to have good universities. Maybe we can have Harvard opening up a little branch here and getting their professors to come and speak to our students here. So I think it's good in a way for us. More research opportunities will open for us. For us, I mean the foreign students, be it Nigerians, be it Indians or Bangladeshis or Pakistanis, whatever. So I don't see it's a bad thing for us. It's bad for them. It's bad for them. I view it that way.
Thank you, Mr. Rashid. Of course, this is only one of the matters that Donald Trump's administration has been tackling over several weeks now. I will ask you, ask Mr. Akhtaruzaman, based on my next question. Donald Trump has been seen earlier supplying arms and almost taking $5 trillion of help from the Middle East into America to build or to strengthen American ties. We of course know that the federal courts in America is also having some kind of a bad reinforcement with the Donald Trump administration. I want your input into the matter. How is Donald Trump's leadership, how is it affecting global politics?
You see, these questions has different dimension, as let's say.
Please.
Once upon a time, after the Second World War, Europe was one of the most promising country, where the German was dying, or German was kept under the what is called under protections, not allowing. The France and England was going up. The Europe market was very lucrative market for the Americans. American has made a lot of big investment on the Second World War, after Second World War, to recover the Europe, and they have done. Now, after the EU, the market is now out of the United States. United States now no interest now, because EU is there, they have got a united body there. So America just cannot do anything they feel like. So this market is no more expanding. They cannot create another war there. They cannot make inter-conflict between the France or England or Norway with Sweden. They are all lovely people, peace-loving people. They are no more want to go for war. And by this time, China has grown in such a big way, it has become really a big threat for United States in all respects, in military,
yes,
in economically, in intelligentsia. Even in the AI, what they wanted to say that if I go for AI, the big unemployment will happen in the China, so there may be a big crisis in the China. So they have, in last 10 years, they have invested so much in AI. Now AI has come to a more or less in a super level where you can control everything. And Elon Musk has shown how they control the whole nation by just a single touch on the computer screen. And he has sacked so many people because he finds these useless, unutilized people are here, sitting here. He has done it. It is because of AI, because AI could get all report in one touch. So the United States government planned that if we could introduce AI all over the world, there will be big unemployment in the third world, especially in the China, because nobody will hire the Chinese people for developing this. So this was them. But China has oversmart them. Even they have picked up such an AI that they are making the American independent. And you see the electronics, you see the power generation, energy generation. You see this today battery, lithium battery, the power source, fuel source is becoming now.
Combustion is being denied in favor of the lithium source. Yes.
Fossil fuel is just declining. The Middle East will become poor very soon if they rechange or they make a remodeling. So he had targeted Middle East, and he has able to get the biggest investment program for next 5 years from the Middle East. American, even Bangladesh had 100 years budget. They are investing in the Middle East, and only 3 countries, UAE,
Saudi
and the Qatar.
Qatar, yes.
And you see the money will that means workers from Bangladesh will have not a way, but it will flood it because they will need this. And Middle East wanted to change their fuel source to the solar and the windmills supported by the AI.
Right.
So this is the new market, they are exposing it, and the what's called Elon Musk is one of the big beneficiary of that.
Right.
That's why there's a clash happen with the republics, that he is taking all the business from the Trump governments, because he is advising the Trump governments to go for this, and the same the benefit he is taking. And we find Bangladesh in other way around that we are not taking any advantage of it. Like the chief advisor went to Japan and he said that about 100,000 people can be employed there. It's okay. But what? They are not going to take a people. They are going to take a workers. They are going to skilled laborers. They will not take people. They will take a good skilled workers. So are we making any good skilled workers?
Not that I know of, and especially even in the countries like Qatar, UAE, Saudi Arabia, so most of the development works you'll see in the construction side, it's all Bengalis.
But all the labor we are providing, but are we making them skilled? We have no facilities. We are not taking the advantage of it. But tomorrow, this will be taken by the Sri Lankans. It will be taken by the Indians. Because Indian Muslims are more than us.
Right.
So they will say that your Muslim will employ, not the Indian Hindus will go there. So Middle East market again will be occupied by the Indians. The same way, the Indian Muslims, if they say we will prefer Muslims, the Indian Muslim will go to Japan. Sri Lankans will go to Japan. Because their education level, their skill level is much higher than us.
Much sophisticated than Bangladesh, yes.
And with the AI, they just did a physical, just to make it tea and carry two in front of me. That's we need a Bengali labor. But what is the formula of the tea? How to prepare this? AI will do it.
Mr. Akhtaruzzama, that was a very valuable insight as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I will be speaking about Israel-Gaza issue complemented by the second round of talks between Russia and Ukraine. Of course, there are much more issues to attain to. However, do stay with us as we head for a commercial break. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to International Affairs. Today we are also joined by retired Major Mr. Akhtaruzzama and Mr. Mohsin Rashid, also a senior advocate of the Supreme Court. I will now give the context of my next discussion. We will be talking about actually the world's greatest issue, if I would say, and it has been running, it has been a piece of my talk here every day, the Israel-Gaza issue. The headline reads, UN chief calls for investigation into mass casualty event at a Gaza aid incident. According to the International Red Cross, 21 people were declared dead upon arrival, while women and children were killed in another 180 cases. This happened after the Hamas-run civil defense agency in Gaza said that at least 31 people were killed by Israeli gunfire targeting civilians. So this can definitely be counted as a war crime. However, also the IDF Israel Defense Forces said that an initial inquiry had shown that the shots had not been fired by people or near the aid center. So this is another one of those disinformation in order to sway international outcry. My question to Mr. Mohsin Rashid, I want to take your insight upon this matter. How can the Israel government still be in place with the Western nations condemning their such action towards the Gaza Strip, the Gazan people? As we know, the numbers of deaths has only been increasing over the past couple of weeks.
Well, you see, the total deaths by now in Gaza is about 75,000 women, children, mostly women, children, and they have destroyed the entire infrastructure of Gaza. Now, well, if you think that this has been done by Israel, I'm sorry to say that it's not Israel. Actually, Hamas has been fighting the United States of America. So, Israel is nothing. If they are not supported financially, they get about $3-4 billion every month as budget support. For a very long time now, the Americans give them this money. They give them the arms. And most of the American research projects have shifted to Israel. Israel is also an undeclared nuclear power. Now, the problem is, we Muslims, not we Muslims, but essentially the Arab-speaking Muslims, if they had some strength, let me tell you, in 1967 war, when Egypt had taken most of the Israeli lands,
right,
their soldiers, they started taking Israeli women, and then they lost that war. In 1967, it is we supporting Jordan. It is our pilot, Mr. Islam or whatever his name is, he's passed away. He has been given many awards for his gallantry. So point is, the kind of halagulla, the kind of shouting that we do, Muslims, Arabs don't do. How many statements, by the way, have you seen coming from MBS or coming from Hamdan or from Algeria or from Tunisia? None. Hamas has only been supported, and if Israel has been fought, it is the Iranians.
Yes.
Except for the Iranians, nobody has done. And the Yemenis, the Houthis in Yemen, I mean, they have supported, and the way they have supported, even America is afraid. Europeans are afraid because they are controlling the sea routes and they can play havoc with trading routes, you see. So point is, we Muslims, are we ready to resolve this problem? Is Qatar ready? Is Saudi Arabia ready? Well, they are not. They are not. Because these are countries which have backstabbed OIC. Today, OIC has become zero. Today, Arab League is zero. Have you seen any statement of Arab League since October 2024, when 23, when this whole thing began? None whatsoever. So, I mean, how do you expect? Have you seen OIC coming out hard? Well, you can sit in the drawing room and say, well, this is international crime. Yes, it is the Jews who are talking against Israel. It is the Europeans who are talking against Israel. It is the South Africans who have gone and filed a case in ICC that they are committing genocide. They are doing it. They are Christians. They are doing it. What have we done? Have we done anything? Have we supported them? No, we have not. Now, coming to Palestine. Palestinians are divided very badly. If you think they can do something, they cannot do anything. Because the Palestinian Authority which is in the UN, you see, they have no connection with the Houthis. They are in charge of West Bank and they have split long time back. The Palestinians and Hamas, they split. At one time, they were together. Now, once you split, you are divided, your strength goes down.
Right.
And Palestine, I'll tell you, these fellows, they are very happy getting money from the Westerners and enjoying life by studying in big universities, Ivy League universities and other places. They get scholarship. During Clinton's time, if any one of you have noticed, Clinton had given a formula and there were 13 points in that formula, and he said, look here, I am telling you that it's only I who can bring peace and I who can give you a statehood.
Right.
He said this. Palestinians, he also said another thing. He said, you see, my time is short. I'll be leaving shortly. It's on the table. If you want to work on it, we can be partners. They did not take it. They did not take it. So there's a problem with them also. Basically, there's a problem. We actually think a lot about the Arabs, perhaps because of our Islamic heritage, perhaps because the Quran is in Arabic. These are the factors that we think that they are. But they have not done much. On the contrary, this Saudi royal family has Jewish connections. Not now, historically.
Yes.
Historically, when they were Sardars, they were not kings. Saud and their fathers and others, they had Jewish connections. So it's an old connection that they have. And you must remember, MBS has said that my nannies were all Jewish. He has said this publicly. I'm not saying this. So where do you go from here? So don't expect much from the Arabs. That Christian country, South Africa, will do it for you. The Pope will talk about you. We will talk. Iranians will talk. The non-Arab speaking countries are the countries which support Palestine, and if Palestine ever gets a state, it will be because of these non-Arab speaking Muslims like we, the Indian Muslim, the Indonesians, the Malaysians, the Iranians, you see, but don't expect much from Arabs.
Thank you, Mr. Rashid. That was definitely almost a history class. You took us back to a certain extent because, of course, the background of this recent escalation, it should be definitely studied. I will now go into another conflict zone. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a breaking news. As you know, the 3-year war between Russia and Ukraine has been prolonging, and it has affected almost all economies of the globe. As we now hear that a second round of Russia-Ukraine talks has been held in Turkey once again, but this time there was no major breakthrough. We know that in recent news, Ukraine has launched an air offensive, almost a drone strike onto the hangar of Russian military, which caused the Russian militaries to lose a lot of their jets, which they would have used in the war. Right now, they are still discussing what they can do, as we still know that the ceasefire is very fragile. My question is to Mr. Major Akhtaruzaman. This Russia-Ukraine war has been prolonging so far that we can see now that the NATO regions, Germany has opened up its door to Ukraine. UK has been increasing in their military budget. The NATO is now facing off one enemy. 32 nations of the NATO is now facing one enemy, or to them the enemy is Russia. I would like to take your input on this matter, and how do you see this unfolding? Will it turn into another World War III situation?
World War III situation is far away.
I really hope so.
Very far away. I don't believe in the third will take place because people are more wiser now. They have more intelligence. They have got more information now. It was not pre-Second World War that people are not, everybody was not informed as few countries were informed. Now you see the Ukraine war, it was a foolish war of the Ukraine leadership. Ukraine being the part of the Russians or the Soviet Russia, they have separated from Russia. They should have better friendship with Russia than having friendship with the NATO or the other European countries. It is a betrayal act to the neighbors, because you are trying to be hostile with the neighbors, and neighbors needs your help, because if they have to come to the Red Sea, you see the Russian has no other alternative but to use the Odessa. They have to use it.
Which they annexed as well.
Yeah, and for the Russian
Crimea as
export
well,
and
right.
import both, and food and fuel, they need the support or the help and cooperation from the Ukraine. And Ukraine was continuously threatening Russia that they will not allow it and they will join NATO. Now, the Putin was smart enough to handle it militarily. He just gave a thumb to everybody of the world. He said, I means business, I need what I want to do. And he did it. He just made an attack by doing exercise first. Everybody has seen he is doing exercise in the Belarus. Everybody has seen his approach into the Ukraine. Why the NATO was sleeping? Why NATO did not come at that time and say, hey, stop your exercise. You cannot move any further. If you move any further, we are going to intervene. The war would not have taken place. Russia would not be dared to do it. But once they have Russians found, they have not stopped the exercise, they have crossed the Belarus, they have even entered the Ukraine, and that time NATO is saying, it's not good, it is not fair, what you are not doing, fair deal, you are doing this. So this is stupidity. UAE wanted this war. The NATO wanted this war to sell their all old burden the arsenals. They had so many jets, so many planes which were not flying for 40 years. After Second World War, they built it up. So they wanted to use this in the Ukraine. And they given to the Ukraine to use it. The many even didn't fire. Many missiles didn't even fire. Many aircraft even could not fly. But that was, when it has been done, by this time half of the northern Ukraine has gone in the valley of Russia.
20% of Ukraine
Russia has already secured his logistics. Taken this, the 2 states, 3 states, and they have converted him into independent country. The people has voted for him. He is not occupied. This is not occupied territory. These are the all 3 independent countries. Like if the Bangladesh can be separated from Pakistan, if Pakistan can be separated from India, then why Ukraine, the Croatia, these 3 states cannot be separated from India, from the Ukraine? Why? If the Taiwan can be separated from China, then why? If the East Timor can be separated from Indonesia, then why they cannot? These are logics you can see. International, if you go and logic and we go and talking, go and United Nations table, then you will find.
Of course, where dialogue fails, military prevails.
It has to be, because unless it is under Russian term, because Trump and Putin are the good friends, and their interests are common to fight against Europe, fight against China.
This friendship has also been strained in recent times. They had a 2-hour call. One of them is calling the other a madman, crazy.
These are not it is just diversification of the attentions. They are saying that they are not friends so that they can come to a deal. Because and then you cannot say this is so this is a human cleverish act, and they are superhuman, and they know when to be friend, when not to be friend. They know business.
Right.
And they have no business. So to fight against the 2 common enemy of the United States and the Russia both are the China on the Eastern Front and the Europe on the Western Front. You know what UK has done? Mr. Zelensky, when he had some sort of misunderstanding in the White House,
Oval Office, he was bullied.
When he was forced to out, he came and he went to England, and Indian government gave him about $8 billion. Why? Why?
Because the threat is far more closer to the UK and the EU
so
than the
UK
Americas.
wanted to sell, we want to take the chance of this. So he wanted to take a chance of this, selling the $8 billion worth of arsenals or military hardware to them. So this is the betrayal which have been done during the East India Company. The England are betraying all over the world. They have sucked blood from the whole over the world, including United States. They lost it. So UK is always creating problem all over the world, but they don't have the teeth now to bite. So they were using earlier was using German on some time, then they used Russia to fight against the Germans, then they have gone to the United States. United States was not there to come to the First World War, even to Second World War. It is because of begging of the UK, to protect the UK, to save the UK, the Americans joined this Second World War. So today, they wanted to bring the Third World War scenario and bring the United States. United States is happy, far away from the missiles of any country.
There's no conflict region, whether it be Latin America or be North America. There's no conflict there.
No conflict. So he is happy. So the Trump is now concentrating to building his nation again. As you are talking about the student visas and talking about this, he is doing it deliberately to deny the Chinese. Because all intelligence study has been made by the Harvard is all going to the China within no time. So they want to stop this student. It is a hard patriotism of the United States government. It's a nationalistic government. They're trying to do it. Even they are not compromising the UAE. They are seeing the interest. Their interest is now Middle East and the conflict is with China. To fight these two, the Trump is going very, very steadily, and I hope the Trump will be successful.
Thank you, Mr. Akhtaruzaman. That was definitely a very descriptive answer. My personal thank you to both gentlemen here for being here today. I'm actually honored by such a guest here. Ladies and gentlemen, as I draw closer, today is June 4th. It is remembered as the Memorial Day for the Tiananmen Square protest, which happened in China back in history. Just a note, we shall be back with this program after the Eid breaks on June 15th. Up until then, that's it for today. I hope to see you later in the month. Eid Mubarak to all my viewers as well. Thank you.